It's the end of the month and it's a Friday, which means it is time for my apartment complex's book club. And this month our theme was page to screen. So here are my picks for this month's book club. So first up we have Max, which is by Jennifer Schatz. This is a book about a young boy named Justin whose older brother Kyle unfortunately is killed in action in Afghanistan, and Kyle was a military dog handler, and his military dog Max basically is now experiencing PTSD from the incident that happened, and is no longer fit to serve overseas. So in order to save Max's life, Justin's family takes him in. And initially, Justin really wants nothing to do with this dog. It's too many reminders of his older brother. He's really struggling with his grief over his brother's death. And slowly but surely, though, Justin and this dog, Max, they kind of start really developing this really beautiful bond. And it's almost kind of like a grief and healing for the two of them. But there is more to Kyle's death of what happened over in Afghanistan that becomes like a really big point of the plot in this book and also in the movie. If you have not seen the movie, there's an incredibly heartbreaking scene during the funeral. I cry every time I watch it, but this is an amazing book and it's such an amazing movie as well. Highly recommend. Next up, we have Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda by Becky Albertalli. So if you know this, you know that they changed the title of the movie to Love, Simon, which mine, of course, has the stupid little sticker. But if you don't know anything about this book or this movie, it follows Simon, who is a teenage boy who is gay but has not told anybody. He has not come out to his parents, his friends, no one knows yet. And his school kind of has this like online, I guess, like, I don't know, board or whatever, where people can like put things, confessions. I remember there's like a specific word for it. But anyways, a anonymous student named Blue posts up that they are gay. And Simon starts an online conversation with Blue, just about his own personal, feelings of being gay. And it just kind of starts this whole conversation. Well, unfortunately, Simon's emails get found/hacked by an individual named Martin, who is kind of like the school class clown, also kind of a not great person. And he proceeds to blackmail Simon with these emails in order for Simon to be Martin's wingman, because Martin has a crush on Simon's best friend Leah. The book is really amazing. It's really about becoming more comfortable with yourself, the whole experience of a queer young person and their first time coming out, and how does that happen, who do they tell, how do they tell them. Again, if you've seen the movie, you know that there's a really heartbreaking scene between Simon and Martin after Martin does out him. And I think it's just something that every queer person who has ever been outed against their will really connect with. But I love this book. There's a really, some really great scenes with the parents and how they kind of react and handle everything. His friends, it's kind of a mixed bag. Some of them handle him coming out really well. Some of them don't. There's some very mixed feelings there, but really great book. Absolutely loved it. It's heartbreaking at times, but I think it's something that a lot of individuals, can really connect to. Next up, we have Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alire-Sáenz. I'm probably mispronouncing all of that. But basically we follow Aristotle, or Ari, and Dante, and they meet in the summer of 1980 in Texas. Dante is, at the community pool swimming around. Ari doesn't know how to swim, and Dante kind of offers to teach him how to swim. And this kind of goes from, really amazing summer friendship into a little bit more. Now, Ari is just a very angry person at the beginning of this book. His older brother has gone to prison, and his entire family has kind of almost erased his older brother from existence. They don't talk about him. He's not mentioned, and Ari does not really understand what happened, what his brother did to go to prison, and he's just really struggling with all of that. And then also throughout the book, he kind of starts to really struggle with his sexual identity. Dante is, queer. He's not hiding that. He does end up coming out to his parents at a certain point. We do have very supportive parents, especially for 1980. Apologize, my cat is knocking at my stand, but we do have pretty supportive parents for it being that time period of 1980. We also deal with a parent who is, experiencing PTSD from the Vietnam War. So it's a very mixed bag of what we see in this book, but it's a very slow kind of just two boys who are good friends and develop this really great friendship that, like I said, kind of turns into something a little bit more. There is a second book, and it's just as amazing as the first one. Next up is a book that's kind of really close to my heart, but it is Still Alice by Lisa Genova. If you don't know anything about me, I have worked in Alzheimer's research for many, many, many years. And so it's a thing that's really close to me. But Still Alice follows an individual, Alice, who is experiencing early onset Alzheimer's. So she is in her 50s and she's just starting to experience some things, and it starts small. This book does go between about a 2 to 3 year time period. So it starts with Alice, those kind of very, I guess you want to say, typical early signs where, the running route she takes every day, she starts getting lost and confused. Little small things she starts missing. She starts noticing she's having to leave like a lot more post-it notes for herself. So it's just really kind of like her experience of going through this, and then also seeing the impact on her family and what it does to them, of how do they handle this? How do they deal with this? It's a great book. I highly recommend this. I cannot, honestly, I can't recommend it enough. I think it gives a really good insight into all the Alzheimer's disease as well as early onset. There is discussion of a treatment drug that is actually a real treatment drug, and kind of its impact and effect. Absolutely love this. The movie is really amazing. I wish I could remember actors and actresses' names. If you've noticed throughout this whole thing, I've not mentioned a single one. It's because I can't remember them worth anything. But if you're looking for something that kind of gives you more into the insight of what it's like to live with early onset Alzheimer's, this is an amazing book for you to read. Last but not least, if we're going to do a page to screen book, we have to do one, and one in particular, and that is going to be Red, White, and Royal Blue. I can't discuss page to screen books without bringing out this one. Obviously, I love this book. It's one of the very few books that I have actually annotated. But we follow Alex and Henry. We know that Alex is the president's son and Henry is the Prince of England. They kind of start off not really liking each other, with some little oopsies that happen that kind of land them both into hot water and force them to become friends. Obviously, over time, as they're spending more time together, sparks start to fly and things really start to happen between the two of them. It's a funny, amazing, beautiful book. There are some really heartbreaking scenes. I tagged all of the blue ones as sad. So it's an amazing book, amazing movie. I'm really excited the fact that we're getting a second movie. I don't know quite what it's going to be about. I'm wondering if it's going to be because in one of the editions there is kind of like a epilogue, if you want to say, bonus scene of a couple years later. So I'm wondering if we're going to that's what the movie is going to be about. But it's a perfect, beautiful, amazing romance. I absolutely love it. I can't recommend it enough. It's one of my favorite books. But yeah, if I'm going to do a page to screen for book club, Red, White, and Royal Blue has to be in it. So those are my book club picks for today's book club. I'm super excited. Next month's book club theme, because it's October and more like Halloween, we are doing monsters and monster retellings. I have a couple books that I have already in my head picked out for them, one of which is right up there. Very excited to see you all next month with next month's book club picks.